Are you a mother, father, or are you involved in caring for children? If yes, then log in to Ask the Pediatricians Foundation Facebook page every Saturday by 10 a.m. to participate in ATP live group discussion on a popular child health topics such as dangerous child health practices, immunization, and child survival strategies. Don't miss ATP Live because it's informative, educative, and interactive. ATP Live.
Program for all parents and carers of children.
Okay, hello everyone. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Lagos, Nigeria. You're welcome to another educative and exciting edition of ATP Live. Today we'll be talking about a very, very important topic. But before we go there, I want you to go online, share, invite your friends to come and watch. Today we'll be talking about pneumonia in children. What is pneumonia in children? How do you know when a child has got pneumonia? And today I have Dr. Bemi with us today. She'll be talking and educating us. She'll take our questions. Please make sure you put your questions in and let it be on the topic for today. If you have sent in a question that does not relate to today's topic, sorry, we will not be able to take it. I also advise you to make your questions very short so that we can understand. All right, so Dr. Bemi is here with us. Dr. Bemi is the founder of ATP. She's a pediatrician consultant. Dr. Bemi, you're welcome to the studio. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with us this morning on Ask Pediatricians Live as we discuss pneumonia. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Bemi. Pneumonia in children. I know you're a pediatrician, you've heard so much, you've seen so much. I don't know so much about it, but I want you to, just give us an overview of what pneumonia is exactly.
Okay, so pneumonia basically is what we call infection in the lungs of the children. So there are a lot of infections that can affect the respiratory tracts in children, from the nose down to the trachea, down to what we call the bronchioles, the part that spread into the two lungs, and down to the lung itself. So those are the various parts of the respiratory tract. But when we have infection within the lung itself, the lung tissue, and that is the one that we'll refer to as pneumonia. So there are some other infections that affect the nose, the trachea, and all those ones. They are not pneumonia, but the ones that affect the lungs is pneumonia. Though most people always call it chest infection. So that's what pneumonia is.
So pneumonia is not catarrh or cough. Because, sometimes when the child has cold or catarrh, you just assume, oh, maybe he has pneumonia or a pain on the side of the chest or something. Pneumonia is actually an infection. Wow. How can someone get pneumonia?
Okay, so pneumonia is, I just want to add to where you stopped. So somebody with pneumonia can have cough, can have catarrh. So those are just symptoms. They are not necessarily saying that that child has pneumonia. Okay, so just to clarify that. But pneumonia is usually infection. It can be caused by viruses. It can be caused by bacteria. It can be caused by different organisms. The commonest are usually the bacteria. The bacteria that cause pneumonia in children. And then they can now manifest with different symptoms. And some of those symptoms by which they manifest include fever. So most of the time the children may have fever. Sometimes the children will have cough. Sometimes they have chest pain. And sometimes they have, they may be unwell. They have vomiting. They may even have diarrhea. They can have virtually any symptom, but the commonest are the fever, the cough, the chest pain, and then most children have difficulty with breathing. They will be breathing fast. You will see either their nose flaring, or you will see that if you look at their chest, you will see that the weight, there's what we call indrawing of the chest somehow. So they have difficulty with breathing. The breathing will be fast and also will be difficult. And so when you see all these features, they are pointing to the fact that this child may have chest infection or pneumonia.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bemi. To to ascertain it's actually pneumonia, do we have to carry out a test, or just by looking at all the symptoms we have mentioned, we can say, oh, this child has got pneumonia?
Uh, there are most times as doctors we diagnose pneumonia by clinical features. In other words, so by what we see. So when we see some of those symptoms that I've mentioned about, the fever, the cough, the difficulty with breathing, then we know that this child most likely has pneumonia. And of course, we as doctor, we also listen to the chest. So there are features we also pick up within the chest. And we hear some noises, what we call crackles or crepitations and stuff like that. So when we hear all that, so there are all things that also point to us that this child may likely have pneumonia. And so we can make diagnosis of pneumonia clinically, but sometimes we can also make a diagnosis via a chest x-ray. It can also give us a sign that this child has pneumonia. So those are the various ways by which we can make diagnosis
All
of
right. Thank you,
pneumonia.
Dr. Bailey. Don't forget to invite your friends. The show is live. You have opportunities to ask your questions. You have opportunities to learn live from Dr. Bailey. Okay, Dr. Bailey, before we take the questions we have, quick one. Is pneumonia contagious? Can someone who has pneumonia transfer to another person? You said it's a virus. Do I have to keep the other children away from the one who has pneumonia already?
Okay, yeah. So pneumonia is not contagious that way. Uh, it is by, but the circumstances that predispose a child to pneumonia can, can also predispose other children within that same house to pneumonia as well. So the risk factors could be similar, but it doesn't mean that if a child has pneumonia, the only one that we tend to say don't um, that is more contagious is tuberculosis. Pneumonia can also be caused by tuberculosis, so it's a form of pneumonia as well. But children usually are not contagious. Usually, it's the adults that tends to uh, transmit their own to children. Children, because children usually don't cough out, they swallow their sputum, and they don't have enough of the tuberculous bacteria in enough for them to be able to create uh, to infect another person. But adults with pneumonia from tuberculosis can infect children. So basically, so it is not a contagious disease in that way. So you don't need to keep other children away from children who has got pneumonia. Yeah.
Okay. There was something I picked out there. So, will I say it's safe for an adult who has pneumonia to stay away from children?
An adult who has confirmed tuberculosis, yes,
Tuberculosis,
you
if he
should
has
not be
pneumonia.
live. Yeah,
Okay.
but not just the everyday, what we call the community acquired pneumonia
Pneumonia.
due to bacteria like the commonest bacteria are what we call, I don't pneumococcus bacteria, Haemophilus influenza, those kind of bacteria, when children have, they are not like contagious like that,
Okay.
so you don't need to worry about this.
All right. Thank you, doctor. Okay. Quick one now about pneumonia. Is it fatal? Is pneumonia fatal in children? Can it lead to death
Yes,
if
of
it's
course.
caught?
In fact, one of the yes. So we have the commonest causes of under five deaths in developing world, especially countries like Nigeria. And pneumonia is one of them. It's almost on, I think it's even the highest of them all.
Wow.
So it is one of the killers of our children, in along with malaria, along with diarrhea, along with the newborn deaths from newborn causes of deaths and all that, and then along with malnutrition. Those are the five major killers of our children, and that is why we are addressing these topics in on our Ask Pediatricians Live. And these are preventable conditions. These are treatable conditions. So there's no reason why our children should be dying from pneumonia. We need to recognize it early. We need to go for treatment early, and then we need to prevent it. And if we're able to do all this, then our children will not be dying from pneumonia. And that is the essence of having this program today.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bemi. You said three things: recognize it early, prevent it, and treatment. How do we recognize pneumonia early so that we can go for treatment?
Yeah, by the symptoms, I've already mentioned that to you. So when a child is having fever and is coughing and all that, then you need to uh, there are, if a child just have mild cough and runny nose and all that, you may just think, okay, it's an upper respiratory infection. But once the child start having fever, having cough, and then having fast breathing, having difficulty with the breathing, these are features that tells us that this is more than just an upper respiratory tract infection. This is a possible pneumonia, and then you must take that child to the hospital so that the child can be treated. Yes. So basically, that is how to do that.
Thank you, Dr. Bimi. We have a question here. Please, can I have the question again? Okay, thank you. This is from Antonia Nwora. First signs of pneumonia. What are the first signs of pneumonia?
Okay, like I've already mentioned that fever, cough, fast breathing, difficulty with breathing. So if a mother you notice any of those ones, then you should know that that child has pneumonia, and then you need to take the child to the hospital immediately. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you. Let's keep the questions coming in. Dr. Bemi is still live for the next couple of minutes. Let's send our questions. Let's share so our friends can have an opportunity to watch and learn and get educated. Okay, Dr. Bemi, how do we prevent pneumonia in children?
To prevent pneumonia in children, there are many strategies that we can use. Number one is to make sure that we avoid the risk factors for pneumonia. And what are the risk factors for pneumonia? Malnutrition. So children should eat well. We talked about malnutrition a few days ago. So children need to eat well. Exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, and after 6 months, you introduce other food and make sure you introduce a variety of food so that the children can have good weight, and that is very good in preventing pneumonia. Good environment. We need to avoid smoke, whether cigarette smoke. And even the smoke from our firewood and things like that. So we need to ensure that children are not exposed to smoke and things like that. Generator fumes and all that, they kind of paralyze those what we call cilia that are in the respiratory system. So it make it easier for children to contact pneumonia. Of course, we also need to keep children away from when children are having cough, cold, and catarrh and all that, you may want to avoid them going to nursery school or going to the crèche and things like that. And also, preferably don't take children to crèches because they are exposed to all these respiratory infections from other children as well, and it's easier for them to pick it up as well. So that those are some of the things we do. But the most important thing as well is immunization. So immunization can prevent some of these causes of pneumonia. So the commonest bacteria that cause pneumonia in children, things like pneumococcal bacteria. There's a pneumococcal vaccine that can prevent that. And mother always asks me, "Oh, my baby has taken the vaccine and still has pneumonia." Remember that even the pneumococcal bacteria have different types. So the vaccines protect against maybe about 10, sometimes we have 13 PCV13. So it can protect against all, but the commonest ones that tend to cause this pneumonia are being prevented, by the vaccine. So at least your child will not likely have severe ones or the common ones. Okay. Apart from the pneumococcal vaccine, you also have the Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine. So that also protects against pneumonia due to Haemophilus influenza type B bacteria. Then you also have the even the measles vaccine. It can prevent, because measles, one of the ways measles kill children is through causing pneumonia in children, and that can also lead to death. So measles vaccine also very protective against pneumonia due to measles virus. So we need to make sure that all our children are fully immunized to protect them. Now, being fully immunized, remember there are so many viruses. Also, the BCG vaccine will protect against tuberculosis pneumonia. But just saying that there are so many bacteria, there are so many viruses, we can't possibly have vaccines against them all. But those vaccines are the ones that protect against the commonest ones that cause the pneumonia in children. And we need to make sure that all the other protective factors, nutrition, clean hair, make sure our room is well ventilated and things like that. And of course, keeping children warm, especially those who live in cold environments. This will also go a long way in preventing pneumonia. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bimi. That was very, very educative. I am learning as well. Okay, please keep your questions coming in. I think we've taken this question. But before we take another question, very quickly, Dr. Bimi, if we have missed this immunization at one point or the other, is it still possible for the mother to take the immunization so as to prevent these things?
Yeah, thank you so much, Okpe, for that question. Uh, all immunization, even if you have missed them, they can be taken again, majority of them, especially if things like pneumonia, for example, that affect children up to the age of 5. So because of that, so as long as the child is still below 5, you can still take the vaccine. So the fact that they didn't take it when they are 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, does not mean that you cannot take them. And before in Nigeria, we don't have the pneumococcal vaccine free. People have to pay for it. But thank God our government now has introduced the free pneumococcal vaccine, and we hope that, and the Haemophilus vaccine is also free. It is part of the Penta vaccine, and of course, measles vaccine is free. So we should, those who didn't take pneumococcal vaccine before, you can still go and take them if your child is still below the age of 5. It's just that they may not have to take 3 doses like the those who took them from baby.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bemi. Mothers, fathers, I hope you have heard that. If you have missed the immunization, please go and take them, as long as your child is still under 5. We have another question here from
Okay, we have
yeah. Okay. Can a child have pneumonia even after taking the vaccine, the pneumococcal vaccination? Can a child still have pneumonia? Dr. Bemi.
Yes, I think, thank you, Izine, for that question. I just answered the question, but let me reiterate it again. There are so many viruses, there are so many bacteria that can cause pneumonia. Even the pneumococcal vaccine that protects against pneumococcus, we cannot protect against all the various species of that, even pneumococcus on its own. So it is still possible for a child to have pneumonia, but we are protecting, the vaccine protects against the common ones and against the severe ones. So the child can have pneumonia, yes, but most likely it won't be the common ones, and it may not be severe and all that. But that is why it's important to also use all the other protective measures to protect against pneumonia and come to the hospital early. You know, the reason why most of our children die from pneumonia is because mothers don't come to the hospital. So when their children have cough and fever, they give them cough syrup, and they think that is all. Now, cough, like I told you, is just a symptom. It is not the infection itself. So when you are giving cough syrup, you are actually suppressing the symptom. It's just like taking paracetamol for malaria. You are only treating the fever, you have not treated the malaria. And because of that, most children will have cough. The mother is giving them paracetamol, is giving them cough syrup. The fever will go, the cough may reduce, but the child will still have the pneumonia. And then by the time they come to us, the child is very ill. And pneumonia can be complicated. We didn't even mention that. So you can have simple pneumonia. You can have complicated pneumonia where you can have water, what we call pleural effusion, inside the lungs. That will require surgery. You can have what we call empyema, where you have pus inside the space that covers the lung, what we call the pleural space, and that is complication. And and infection from the lungs can also spread to the brain, can spread to the rest of the blood, and cause what we call septicemia, meningitis, and stuff like that. So it is important that mothers come to the hospital early. And we pediatricians don't like you using cough syrup. And this is one of the reasons. Because sometimes children have severe infection, they have pneumonia, and mother is very comfortable that she has given cough syrup, and she's not coming to the hospital. And by the time she's coming to the hospital, the child is very ill. And sometimes children can die very quickly because, like I mentioned, we can have very severe complications, and that could be fatal, you know. So what we are saying, mother, is that when your child has fever, has cough, with difficulty with breathing, don't do mommy's treatment. Take that child to the hospital.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bimi. I have another question from Antonia. My 18-month-old is having a runny nose for a while now. He stays in crèche. Is the crèche contributory to the recurring runny nose?
Yeah, thank you, Antonia. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
If you were watching from the beginning, I mentioned that one of the risk factors for children having respiratory infection generally, including the upper respiratory one, which is the cold and the what we call colds and catarrh and stuff like that, and even the lower respiratory one like the pneumonia, it is still the exposure to other children. And so it has to do with the crèche and attendance at crèche. Reason is because children in crèche, they keep on reinfecting each other. It's a circle. And ideally what is recommended is that if a child has a acute respiratory tract infection, you keep them at home. You don't take them to the crèche. But you know, most mothers, working mothers, we are busy. We all want, okay, it's not just a mild cough. So, and most crèches too, they want the money. So they will take the child in. And so as one child is getting better, the other children are starting, then the other children that are starting, the one that has got better will be reinfected. So it's a vicious cycle. So usually for mothers that have such circumstances, I just tell them it's better to use a nanny and just keep your child at home, out of the crèche, if you can avoid it.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bimi. Another question from Atinuke Akinleye. Okay, please, what is the major cause of a broken heart pneumonia in baby of 6 weeks? Okay, I don't seem to understand that question, Dr. Bimi.
I'm not sure. Atinuke, maybe you may need to rephrase your question, okay, but I can think of possible things. Do you mean bronchopneumonia, or do you mean a child has a heart problem because of pneumonia? Because thank you for actually asking the question. One of the complications of pneumonia is what we also call heart failure. Wow. So pneumonia can also lead to heart failure in children, and that can be bad. Now, but children who also have heart problems, maybe holes in the heart and things like that, they are also prone to having pneumonia. So it's a vicious cycle kind of thing. So pneumonia can cause heart failure. Children with heart problems tend to have pneumonia. But I don't know whether you are referring to bronchopneumonia, because there are different kinds of pneumonia. Of course, I'm not really going to bother mothers with that, but we have what we call bronchopneumonia. We also have called lobar pneumonia and other. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what you are trying to say, but if you rephrase your question, we'll try and see whether we can clarify it.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, keep your questions coming, keep them simple and short. Thank you. This is another question from Selimot Osho. Is constant runny nose a symptom of pneumonia? I'm sure she's asking that. Constant runny nose.
And runny nose is not a symptom of pneumonia. It's a symptom of what we call the upper respiratory tract infection. So the nose, those are the upper part of the respiratory tract. Okay. However, upper respiratory tract infections sometimes can progress down to the lower respiratory tract and cause pneumonia. But the word you use saying constant is, if the child is running nose all the time, it's more likely an allergic thing. Those are the people that tend to have the constant running nose, and we call it allergic rhinitis. So our advice that you see your pediatrician first. Yeah. Okay. And there are treatments for it. Yes.
Okay. Let's keep the questions coming. Let's share so that our friends can also have an opportunity to learn. Dr. Bimi is still here. Okay, I have another question from Max Klobe.
Okay. I don't think Max Klobe is asking questions. She's just helping us to reiterate what we have been discussing.
Children need to eat well.
Thank you very much
for that. All right, so let's keep our questions coming. But before we go on, Dr. Bimi, talking about children and crèches, it's not very easy. You know how environment is. Mothers have to work, wake up early, take the children to school. We cannot say that everybody should keep their children at home. What can we advise the creches to do? What's the best thing they can do in the crèche, to prevent
Yeah,
the
thank you
circle
very
from
much.
going round?
Yeah, yeah, that's a very valid question. So each crèche should have a policy, and that's what I encourage mothers to do. When you go to a crèche, ask them what is their policy as regard illness, and not only cough and pneumonia, but every illness in children. And what we recommend is that crèches should have a policy to say if your child is ill, keep the child at home. Don't bring the child to the crèche. That is one approach. Approach two is to have a separate area for sick children in the crèche. That is not the best, but sometimes maybe that's the the best you can do under some circumstances. But the best approach is actually keep sick children at home. Don't bring them to the crèche. And if you bring them to the crèche will not take them in. If every crèche does that, it will be easy. And mothers, when your children are sick, you can tell them at work, my kid is sick, can I stay at home? You know, and let the child get better. I think that's a better approach towards it.
All right. Thank you, Ma. Okay. Let's keep the questions coming. Dr. Bemi is still here. Okay, this is from Melda Mangos. What is the relationship between adenoid enlargement and pneumonia?
Okay, thank you. Adenoids is they are like lymphoid tissue. I don't want to use the grammar around the throat area. They're actually protective and all that, but they can get bigger. And when they get bigger, they tend to cause infection. They can be infected as well. You can have tonsillitis and things like that. So most of the adenoids tends to cause upper respiratory tract infection. Yeah, not usually pneumonia, but like I've said earlier, sometimes the upper respiratory tract infection can progress down and cause the lower respiratory tract infection. So one of the indications for removing adenoids or doing the surgery is recurrent infections. So if a child is having recurrent tonsillitis, upper respiratory tract infection, maybe about 3 times in a week, I mean in a month and all that, then the surgeons will take it out. Yeah, but the adenoids are actually protective against pneumonia, so we usually don't like to take it out because sometimes they reduce on their own. But if they are creating a lot of issues, then they will take them out.
All right, thank you, Ma. This is a question from Grace
Yeah.
Papa. Is exposing your
I'm
child
expecting
to
that
air
question.
from the fan or air conditioner
Yeah.
by opening of the window
Yeah.
for ventilation cause pneumonia for a child less than 2 months old?
Yeah, thank you,
Okay.
Grace. I've been expecting that question.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because most Nigerians, let me qualify that, mothers, always think cold and when we mean cold, not like when the temperature is low,
No,
is
okay.
the cause of pneumonia. So they will say, don't lie on the floor because you will catch pneumonia. those kind of things. So people say, don't expose a child to AC, don't expose a child to fan, or the child will have pneumonia. Now, we said, let me just say it again, that the cause of pneumonia is not the cold, it's not the fan, it's not the AC.
Okay, so
Colds, catarrh, cough, pneumonia, whatever, they come from germs, viruses, bacteria. We can sort that out. Now, but they have a valid point in the sense that children that when the weather is a little bit chilly, it is the apparatus in the body that normally helps to protect against infections, because usually, we are all exposed to bacteria and viruses every day. There are plenty in the air. So, but what normally make us not to get sick is because we have what we call protective factors in our body. So when you cough, there are things that take out those germs so that they don't settle your body's immunity and all that. And that's why children who have malnutrition are prone to having pneumonia and stuff like that, because their body immunity, ability to fight those bacteria is really reduced already. So cold too tends to paralyze some of those uh, agents in the body. They actually what we call the ciliary bodies that tends to also help us to clear out all those things, negative particles, viral particles, bacterial particles coming in, you understand? So it is easier for somebody who is a little bit cold, exposed to, and when we say cold, I mean, we are talking about very low temperatures now. It is easier for them when they are exposed to the germs to develop infection, but it is not the cold per se. So you don't need to wrap children, newborn babies like
With different layers and layers of shawls and
with and so those should, and some of them will close the windows, no ventilation. Do you know what? It is lack of ventilation that will even cause infection, because you need the air to be exchanged. So you need cross ventilation. We don't want overcrowding. So, and newborn babies can use the AC. There's nothing wrong with them as long as you are not making the temperature too cold. Just normal comfortable temperature is fine for them. 23, 24 is fine. Okay, so that is what we recommend. And they can use the fan as long as you open your windows and there's cross ventilation and the baby is not directly under the fan itself. So all those myths about fan and AC causing pneumonia or lying on the floor, they are
not
pure
true,
myths.
they're myths.
They are not
Okay.
true. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bimi. Thank you. All right, we'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back. Don't leave.
Are you a mother, father, or are you involved in caring for children? If yes, then log in to Ask the Pediatricians Foundation Facebook page every Saturday by 10 a.m. to participate in ATP live group discussion on a popular child health topics such as dangerous child health practices, immunization, and child survival strategies. Don't miss ATP Live because it's informative, educative, and interactive. ATP Live.
Program for all parents and carers of children.
Okay.
Are you a mother, father, or are you involved in caring for children?
Being a great mom isn't just about playing with your kids or providing toys for them. It's also about knowing when they're not feeling well and the medicine that's right for them. When my daughter has a fever, I give her Panda paracetamol drops, specially designed for the relief of pains and feverish conditions in infants and children. It's very gentle on my daughter's stomach and body so that she gets stronger and healthier. With Panda paracetamol at hand, I get to spend more time with my little girl.
Feel good, get better with Panda paracetamol.
Feel better with Panda paracetamol, another quality product from Afrapchem Limited.
All right, welcome back. We've been talking about pneumonia. I hope you've learned something. I also want you to share so that your friends can learn. Keep the questions coming, keep them short, straight, and simple. Dr. Bimi is still in the house talking about pneumonia. Okay, Dr. Bimi, we were talking about pneumonia in children, AC, fan. I remember when I had my baby, my mom was like, cover him up, wear the hood, wear mittens, wear the socks, and then we wrap and wrap. And then he starts sweating, and I'm like, is it not too much? She said, no, you can catch a cold, you can have pneumonia. Once he's sneezing, wear a cap and all that. Now Dr. Bimi has cleared the air. They can use the AC, they can use the fan. They're human beings like us, right? The normal room temperature is fine, right, Dr. Bimi? For babies.
Just make sure that you maintain their normal temperature. So dress according to the weather. That's what we say. So if you're in a temperate area where there's winter, of course you need to wear clothes so that they can have the normal temperature. But if you're in a hot weather, please don't wrap the children too hard and you'll be sweating and all that. That's too much. So what do you call it? Moderation is what we recommend. Yes.
All right, let's keep our questions coming. We're still here talking about pneumonia. Okay, we've taken that from Grace Arbor.
Grace, we've taken that
Okay,
question.
all right. While we're waiting for questions. Okay, that's another one from Princess Tusumu. Whenever there is no fan or air conditioner, my 2-month-old baby tends to sweat a lot, and people say she doesn't need the fan or the AC. I need clarification on that. Okay, I think Dr. Bimi just cleared the air on that. The room temperature is fine for your baby. Dr. Bimi, what do you think?
Yeah, so I don't know what that princess you had does, or maybe
Okay, yes.
you are just coming in. So we are saying that You can use your fan, you can use your AC. Not too cold, excuse me, not too cold and not too hot. So open the windows, let there be cross ventilation, and use your fan. But don't put the baby directly under the fan. Don't put your AC at 16. You can use 23, 24. Just leave it at auto regulation, so it will give you what is the what is best. That's it.
Right, okay. We have another question from Jokis. Good morning, Ma. Is it all noisy breath during cough that is pneumonia? Because my son is having noisy breath during cough. I told him to see a pediatrician, and the doctor said it's not pneumonia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jokis. Yes, you're right. It is. I think it's a very important, valid question you've had. It is not all noises in children that are pneumonia. Now, we can have noises from asthma, so that tends to give what we call wheezing sound. Even the upper respiratory tract infection that involves the trachea and all that, the bronchi and the bronchioles, they can also give you some noises. So with there's what we call acute laryngotracheal bronchitis or croup. It tends to give you this noise when children are breathing. So that is also not pneumonia. So, but usually for mothers, you will not most time not know the difference. You will not know whether is it asthma noise or is it the upper respiratory noise, is it the pneumonia one. So when a child is having difficulty with breathing, that's the key word, and is breathing fast and is having noisy breathing, it's better to see a doctor first. It's better to see the doctor. Let the doctor listen with the stethoscope. And now I was happy that you went to see your pediatrician who now told you it is not a pneumonia. It is better to be told it is not a pneumonia than for you to come so late and we're like, why didn't you come yesterday and things like that? We could have saved this child. So the essence is, when you see anything unusual in your child, please take that child to the doctor. Maybe not necessarily a pediatrician. Any general doctor can also see them. And if they think they're small, then they will do the appropriate referrals.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Bailey. This is another question from Loveline. Good morning, Ma. Is sneezing all the time a sign of cold to my 2 months baby?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, lovely, for that question. Now, there are many reasons why children sneeze a lot, especially the younger babies. And for me, what I've discovered is that most Nigerian mothers, you put eucalyptus oil on your baby's head because it's part of your prevention against cold and pneumonia. And it makes the children sneeze all the time. So what I normally ask, the first, when some believe that it's actually good for them to sneeze so that they won't have the cold. Most sneezing is actually a protective thing. But then when a child sneezes every second, then that is too much. So what I normally ask any mother who told me their children as their babies, especially less than 2, are sneezing a lot is, are you using eucalyptus oil, aka silverbird? You are putting this in the oil, you are putting it every day. I said, go and stop it first. Then we can now know. And of course, also if the baby is exposed to smoke and things like that, what makes you sneeze is the irritation. Something is irritating that baby. So whether you are using perfume that is too strong or the baby is exposed to smoke from the kitchen, frying oil, frying palm oil and things like that, baby will sneeze. So it's better to just avoid those things. And if it's not getting better, see your doctor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bailey. Okay, this is from Oreo Fair. Good morning, Ma.
Yeah.
Good topic. I used to wonder why babies are covered so much in Nigeria. Okay, I think she's just trying to emphasize
Yeah, she's trying to reinforce what we said.
Yes. Okay, this is
Yeah.
Ezine Amaka. She's saying, my daughter of 1 year plus usually breathes very fast whenever she enters the bedroom and the AC is on. What could be the cause of that?
That question, isn't it a small question to ask you? If your baby only breathes fast when she enters the AC, in other words, if she leaves the AC room, she'll be fine.
Okay.
If that's what you're saying, and she doesn't have fever, she doesn't have cough, she's only breathing fast when she enters an AC room, number one, most likely she could have an allergy, and the most I would think of asthma first. And most likely, you may also need to check your kind of AC you use. Maybe they need to. There are some filters these days they put in AC that remove some of those dust. You may need to over clean out your AC. Maybe there are dust particles trapped in, and the child is breathing them in, and it's causing an allergic. Because children could be allergic to the to the dust in the from the AC, or it could be the cold hair. Because when they enter a room with a different kind of hair, cold hair, they can also trigger off an attack. And so that is, we tend to get that a lot in children who are asthmatic. So I will really suggest that you see a doctor, a pediatrician preferably. You can sort of do your own little things. Make sure they clean out the AC. Make sure you're using an AC with a filter. Make sure let's take out the dust and the all the bacterial traps and stuff like that. Then if he still continue to do that, then and when you take him out to the room without the AC, the normal temperature room is fine. I would say most likely is allergic to cold air, and most likely is asthmatic, and you may need to take the child to see a pediatrician.
All right. Okay, we're still taking your questions. Don't forget to share so that your friends can also benefit from this. All right, this is from Anu Agbede. Does bronchiolitis lead to pneumonia?
Okay, so bronchiolitis is a different. So I don't want to teach you biology this morning, but if you remember your biology, I think everybody did biology in secondary school. So there is, if you remember the bronchi, those two major pipe airway, they break into smaller what we call the bronchioles, and then the bronchioles terminates in the lung tissue, the alveoli and stuff like that. Now, bronchiolitis is infection of those bronchioles, while pneumonia is infection of the lung tissue itself. So we are talking about two different parts of the respiratory tract. So they are not related. And most time bronchiolitis are due to viruses and not pneumonia. But because they are related, it's possible, but it's very rare for bronchiolitis to lead to pneumonia because it tends to stay within the bronchioles, and it's something that tends to resolve on its own. It will mimic asthma. It will be as if the child is having bronchial asthma. That's how bronchiolitis look. The children will breathe fast as well. They may have low-grade fever, but when we listen, they also have these wheezing sounds and stuff like that in their chest. And it's commoner in babies between 6 months to 11 months thereabout. Whereas pneumonia can affect children from 0 to 5, any age, and it's more of difficulty with breathing, fever. The fever tends to be higher with pneumonia and all that. So they are not the same condition, and they don't lead to each other.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Bini. All right. This is from
You're welcome.
Olarunke Diet. My baby of 2 years had cough. I gave her Coflax. Later noticed she has cold. Do I give her vitamin C syrup? It's subsidized only for the cough to resurface this morning. I think the baby's having cough and cold.
Okay. Yeah. So Idaya, I would say I don't know how many days this has been going on, but usually most cough and catarrh they resolve on their own. You don't need to give anything. Keep the baby warm food and all that. But if the cough is getting long, so we say we have what we call chronic cough. For us as pediatricians, we define it as cough lasting more than 2 weeks. So if a child has been coughing for more than 2 weeks, you need to take that child to see a doctor. And there may be.
Sorry,
yes. No, I'm not saying no. You don't have. What I'm saying is that it's not as if you have to wait 2 weeks. But if you think it's just a mild upper respiratory cold and catarrh kind of thing, and you are waiting for it to resolve on its own, I'm just saying that if it is going beyond 2 weeks, that is too much, even for the regular cough, cold, and catarrh. Of course, if a child has fever with it, if a child is having difficulty with breathing, you are going to go immediately. We are talking about what she's saying, that a child has catarrh, runny nose, and cough. Obviously, no fever. She's thinking it's just an upper respiratory thing. She's giving vitamin C, giving her cough syrup, and the child is not getting better. So I'm saying that in that situation, if the cough or cold is going beyond 2 weeks, when we expect it to have resolved on its own, then you really need to take the child to the hospital.
All right. Thank you for that
And let me just reiterate that we don't encourage you giving cough syrup to children below age of 1. Please don't, because it tends to mask the symptoms of pneumonia, and you guys will not come to the hospital on time. And those children, and apart from that, children, they are not, most cough syrup are expectorants. So in other words, they are supposed to help you to bring out the sputum. Children don't cough out. They don't produce a sputum. So there's really no basis for you giving them those cough expectorants. And at the end of the day, they can also have side effects from some of those expectorants. It can reduce their breathing and stuff like that. So generally, we don't recommend cough syrup for children. I know mothers ask me this, but they fight me a lot on it. But so your whole thing is good. Yeah.
I understand their plight. Thank you, Dr. Bemi. Okay, another question from lovely Nezeo Koli. Is there any immunization to be given to a child for prevention against pneumonia? I think we have handled that.
Yeah, I think Lovely is just joining us. So, I will just quickly reiterate. So, we have some vaccines that protect against pneumonia. BCG will protect against tuberculous pneumonia. Pneumococcal vaccine, I don't want to mention trade name. Let's just leave it conjugate vaccine, PCV. They can protect against the pneumonia due to pneumococcal bacteria. Then Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine, HIB, will protect against pneumonia due to Haemophilus bacteria. And then measles vaccine will protect against pneumonia due to measles. We can't protect against all the possible causes of pneumonia, but we protect against the common ones that tend to cause severe pneumonia, and those we can protect against those ones. So if your child has missed any of those vaccines, lovely, go and take them. Your child still needs them. Yeah.
It's never too late to take the vaccine. If you have missed anyone,
yes,
please go and take
below the age of 5. Yeah, below the age of 5, just go and take them. I know some people in Lagos, the Lagos state government was saying that they will not give after age of 1. I don't know whether that is official or not, but really, if you have to pay for it, it's still better to go and get that vaccine.
Yeah. We always say prevention is better than cure, so please go and take it. It's very important. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I have a question there from Oloyede. Can I have that question? All right, thank you. Oloyede,
okay, yes.
Okay. This is a very lovely presentation. My question is, can
snoring
in children be a sign of pneumonia? And can snoring be inherited? Do you inherit snoring?
That's very wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So number one, snoring is not a sign of pneumonia. Snoring is actually has to do with the upper parts of the respiratory tract, and it could be due to as basic thing as the fact that when you sleep, your tongue falls back and it's a little bit big, and that is why you're snoring. And some people, they are actually people that are obese, and so those are the kind of people that tend to snore. And yes, it can be, it's not inherited, but if you are all big people in your family and you all have, then you all will tend to be snoring people. So it is just about positioning and things like that. But also sometimes children have adenoid enlargements, which is blocking the airway. So basically, snoring is a sign that when hair is flowing down, there's some kind of a block, either from the tongue or from those adenoids in the upper part of the airway. So those are the things that is causing the snoring. So it's a pointer to something else. So if it is not because the person is obese or the way they sleep, I mean, then you could, if it's children, you have to check them for adenoids, and that's it. But otherwise, it's not something to worry about. Just some people just know there's nothing wrong with them. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bemi.
Yeah. So you don't need to worry about pneumonia in a child who is snoring. You don't need to take them to the hospital. But if you think the child may have adenoids and is having other infections, having tonsillitis, difficulty with swallowing, fever, then those are the ones that you need to take to the hospital.
Okay. I have Grace. Another question from Grace. My 3 weeks plus baby is having noisy breath. I think we've taken this question. Okay.
No, I'm not. This is another one.
She breathes fast. Okay, let me take the question.
Okay.
She breathes fast at times when she's sleeping and doesn't have a cough or catarrh. What could be the cause of this?
Yeah.
Yes, I think I've taken this.
Grace, I'm suspecting you are a new mom. So normally, new babies breathe faster than adults. So sometimes I get that a lot. Mothers think, "Oh, this baby is breathing too fast," because they breathe. A baby less than 1 month breathes about 40 to 60 breaths per minute, whereas most adults will do maybe 12 or so to 15 per minute. So sometimes mothers think the baby is breathing fast, but they are not breathing fast. But so what we need to do, we need to count it. But what I would suggest for you is that see your doctor first. Let them do the counting. Ideally, you should have seen them at 2 weeks and 6 weeks as part of regular follow-up. So they will do the counting. So if you have not done the 2 weeks, you can do the 6 weeks. Let them do the counting and tell you whether it's fast or not. Another thing that mothers also think the babies are having noisy breathing. Now, the pathway for the babies, they are not yet very strong. So when hair is moving in, it's a little bit flexible. So it tends to make it look as if they have some noisy breathing. So it is still within normal. So, but sometimes it's difficult for mothers to know what is normal from what is abnormal. So, what I would just recommend for a mother that, like Grace is asking, if you are worried that your baby is having noisy breathing, your newborn is having noisy breathing or is breathing fast, better see a doctor first. Let the doctor do the counseling, let them do the observation. Or you can do a video recording, send it to your doctor, but it's better to just see them once and for all, so they can also listen to the lungs, and then they can tell you whether, oh, this is still normal or this is something to worry about.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bailey.
Yeah.
All right. I want you to know that if we cannot take all your questions today, you can go to our Facebook page and ask your question on a different point. All right, Dr. Bemi, the talk of asthma has been coming up. Can a child who is asthmatic be more prone to having pneumonia? Is it possible?
Okay. Well, really, ideally, no. But people who have asthma, when they have pneumonia, it tends to um, trigger off the asthma attack in them. So that is basically what I would say. So ideally, your asthma should not make you have more pneumonia, but when you have um, pneumonia and you're asthmatic, it will trigger off an asthmatic attack. But most asthma attacks, they are not caused by pneumonia or anything. There are other things that could create,
Yeah.
that could trigger off the attacks. Usually, if they're exposed to whatever they are allergic to, then it will
Okay.
trigger off the
All
attack.
right. Okay, we can still take one or two more questions before we go. Do you have any question for me? Okay. All right, Dr. Bimi, what exactly can we do, to protect our children and prevent them from having pneumonia? Every mother, every father, we do not want our children to fall sick. The basic things in the house, at school, at work, that can help to prevent pneumonia in children.
Okay, so just to round, as we're rounding off, basically what we're saying is that pneumonia is due to infection in the lungs, or for children, could be by viruses, could be by bacteria, and the way to protect these children is to make sure that we ensure that they have good immunity first to fight, because we are all exposed to bacteria and viruses, germs every day. But there are ways we can, if our immunity is strong, it will clear off most of this infection. So exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. Mothers always say, why these pediatricians and exclusive breastfeeding? Because we know it protects your baby against some of these things. So there's no reason why babies below 6 months should have pneumonia if they're exclusively breastfed. So exclusive breastfeeding, and when after breastfeeding you switch on to complementary feeding, do it properly so that the children don't develop malnutrition, because malnutrition is one of the underlying causes of pneumonia. Two, let's ensure that our children uh, the hair around them is safe. So no smoking. And children don't smoke, but when you adults smoke around them, they become passive smoker, secondary smokers, and they are more prone to having pneumonia as a result of that, because those smoke damages the protective tissue against things like pneumonia. So you need to not smoke around children. Don't cook with firewood. And if you have to cook firewood, not inside the house. Don't fry your oil. Don't fry palm oil where children are. Ensure ensure you have cross ventilation. air is flowing in and out of your house. Avoid overcrowding. Overcrowding is another thing that so not 10 people staying in one room. I mean, let the children have their own room if possible. If not possible, at least not more than 3-4 people are sleeping in one room at a time. That's good. Then another thing, we also, apart from the immunity through nutrition, apart from good hair surrounding our children, is immunization. Let's make sure that all our children are immunized. Of course, we don't have immunization against all the possible causes, but we have against the common causes of pneumonia. So pneumococcal vaccine, please take the 3 doses. Haemophilus influenza type vaccine as well, take the 3 doses. Measles vaccine, take it, and BCG vaccine as well. Those are the ones that we have that can protect our children against pneumonia. And finally, even when pneumonia can still happen, no matter what we do, identify it early. Identify it early means if a child is having cough, a child is having fever, a child is having fast breathing, and a child is having difficulty with breathing, you are hearing noisy breathing, and the child is ill, please don't give them cough syrup. Don't just give them paracetamol. Take them to the hospital. One of the reasons children die from pneumonia is because mothers, fathers, carers of our children, they come late. Pneumonia is one of the highest killers of children due to late presentation. But if you come to the hospital, we can treat pneumonia. If it's a simple pneumonia, we just give them oral antibiotics. If it's a severe pneumonia, they may need intravenous, that is giving the antibiotics into the vein. So if we treat them, most of the treatment is usually between 5, 7, 10 days, and the children will be fine. And so what the message this morning is, prevent pneumonia, and if the children have features that look like pneumonia, go to the hospital on time, and all our children will be fine. Thank you very much.
Dr. Bini. Thanks a lot. It's been very insightful, very educative. I have learned a lot. I hope you've learned something. If we're not able to take your question, please go to our Facebook page and ask your questions. We'll take all your questions.
Ask the pediatrician Facebook group. Not the page, the group, please. We take our questions on the group. From Monday to Saturday. All our moderators, all our professionals are there, so they will be able to answer your question. Don't put it as comments, please. Put it as, Post it as a fresh post on our group, www.facebook.com/groups/askthepage, and we will be very happy to answer your question. Okay, you were saying something. Okay, you can also email us at askthepediatricians.com. If you don't want your name to show or you want anonymous post, email us at askthepediatricians.com. Thank you.
Thank you very
much.
Back
to your question.
I hope you've learned something. We're so sorry if we can't take your questions, but please just do as Dr. Bini has said. We will take all your questions. And if you need to take your child to the hospital, don't wait for us online. Please do go to the hospital. The child health.
Yes, that's very important.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful time here. See you again next week, Saturday. Don't forget to tell your friends about it. Bye-bye.
Are you a mother, father, or are you involved in caring for children? If yes, then log in to Ask the Pediatricians Foundation Facebook page every Saturday by 10 a.m. to participate in ATP live group discussion on a popular child health topics such as dangerous child health practices, immunization, and child survival strategies. Don't miss ATP Live because it's informative, educative, and interactive. ATP Live.
Program for all parents and carers of children.
Being a great mom isn't just about playing with your kids or providing toys for them. It's also about knowing when they're not feeling well and the medicine that's right for them. When my daughter has a fever, I give her Panda paracetamol drops, specially designed for the relief of pains and feverish conditions in infants and children. It's very gentle on my daughter's stomach and body so that she gets stronger and healthier. With Panda paracetamol at hand, I get to spend more time with my little girl.
Feel good, get better with Panda paracetamol.
Feel better with Panda Paracetamol, another quality product from Afrap Chem Limited.